Yeah, I get it. Not everyone can spend a ton of money on their fragrance collection or really wants to. Everyone has different priorities. So I do want to bring you an affordable list today for the spring season. I think there's going to be some hidden gems in here, as well as some stuff that you guys probably know about. So let's talk about them. So in front of me, I do have, four of my favorite cheapies within my collection. A lot of these, honestly, I would wear year round, but these will definitely work in the hotter weather with spring coming. So first I have Supremacy Collector's Edition from Afnan. This is kind of a heavy twist on Creed Aventus Absolute. Just made even fruitier, even lighter with white florals as an emphasis in the mid. I don't believe I've smelled the original Creed Aventus Absolute, just OG Aventus. But this is going to really get the job done if you like something with a pineapple emphasis. The ambergris is pretty strong as you get towards the dry down, so just make sure that's also a note that you like. I feel like on skin that seems to really last a long time. Almost like really as you get to the dry down, that's going to be like the main component that you smell. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But yeah, it really can't go wrong with this. I like how, even though it's light and airy, it definitely has enough push, but also keep in mind the amount you spray, especially as it gets hotter. This can definitely, it will definitely push off your skin a lot. So I just want you to keep that in mind, but I think a lot of people will like this. Price on this fluctuates a lot up and down. I was able to pick this one up. This is my second bottle. Second hand actually, so I think I got it for 30. I've probably seen it for brand new maybe 40, 45 or so. Maybe you can get some deals, coupons, etc. But yeah, that's a really good entry point into something really, yeah, like I said, all year round, but it'll work in the hot weather for sure. So great option there, can't go wrong. And it will last you all day, can be dressed up and down. I think it caters to so many age groups as well. Really enjoyable fragrance here. So in my previous video, I did talk about LV Le Mystique, and I talked about how much I love that fragrance. I've smelled it in store many times, but at the moment, just spending that $300 or so price tag for 100 ml isn't really up my alley at the moment. I've heard so many great things about Banadir, a dupe company, mainly from Vegas Scents. I know some of you probably have watched his content before or have seen him in, like Facebook selling groups and things like that. But yeah, he said for Le Mystique, Banadir number 26 is probably the best he's put his nose on. And yeah, I've only tried one other inspiration of Le Mystique, but yeah, this one is by far the best. The quality is really there. It's an extrait as all of the Banadirs are, so it really lasts even longer than Le Mystique. And for a freshie, I think Le Mystique is one of the ones that's really going to really be highlighted in performance, kind of like Sospiro Vibrato, those ones push very heavy with the citrus. A lot of the synthetic base notes that are used really just push the fragrance into another realm of performance for a fresher citrus take. Yeah, in terms of Le Mystique or Banadir's version, I would say I almost describe it as a citric savory kind of fragrance. It doesn't really have any sweetness in it, herbaceous if you will too, but really to me all those notes are going to be less of a sweet citrus, more of just, that pure citric form with some labdanum and broxin. So it does start to reach more of like, yeah, a savory amber or just something that doesn't have any sweetness in it for sure. Again, this is another one, just like the Supremacy. You can really dress this up or down. It's going to last you all day, so you don't have to worry about like carrying it with you. And again, yeah, definitely matches a lot of age range. I would say maybe this one is like slightly more mature, just because it doesn't have any sweet nuance like the Supremacy collection does, but I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. Like I say in all my videos though, try to sample these in some form, whether it's like, a small vial of the original, or if your friends have some of these. I know on Etsy you can get a lot of inspiration samples as well. So yeah, just find a trusted seller on Etsy if you need. There's a lot of other ways to get, inspired by samples. So luckily that's the thing now, not just like the original versions. Easily one of my most worn of the year, so again could be year round. This is Cobra, an inspiration of imagination from Rasasi and the Hawas line. This one is going to be really nice. I don't really think it's trying to push into being one-to-one to imagination. I think it's just trying to add a heavy dosage of certain notes. Notably, it's like more creamy, more spicy with the ginger and cinnamon. I've heard Jeremy's Hectic is kind of like this too, where you get this citrus, but you still get a lot of heavier ginger and cinnamon notes. So I think if you want something that will last slightly longer than the original, and isn't as delicate in nature, kind of pushes off, it's a little more out there in terms of the profile, this is a great option. And yeah, but Jeremy Hectic is also great. A couple of my friends have that. I haven't owned any of the extra Jeremy's, but yeah, really good. So absolutely, yeah, if you can find that one in stock, grab that one too. Or yeah, I do really enjoy Cobra as well. Again, this is super versatile. If you like that Imagine DNA, maybe a slight sweetness, some people may get that versus Le Mesité at least, but more of like this, I would say the tea is very slight and somewhat synthetic. I don't really think it's a good representation if you want a true tea fragrance, but I would say more of the nuance is coming from soapiness. I think that's the best way to describe Imagination. Some people say it smells like a fancy hotel. I personally never smelled a hotel that smells like Imagination. That would be cool. I think it'd be great, honestly. But yeah, you can kind of envision just cleanliness. So again, yeah, lots of age range in this, lots of occasion range in this. You just can't go wrong with this one. And then honestly, perhaps my favorite on the list, I haven't sprayed any of these today, but I'm gonna get a tester strip real quick for Lysipy Pour Homme from Issey Miyake. Let's get that real quick. Whew. Okay, again, slightly sweeter on this list. And the price may be fluctuating on this. When I got this, it was like $27 maybe at Aura Fragrance. I know a lot of these like cheaper designers in the fresh realm, kind of like Nikos Sculpture, a lot of those have been really hyped up lately on social media, so they may have gone up in price, or even are harder to get in stock. But definitely try to get the OG. This is just one of the best creations. I'm gonna look up the perfumer. I think it's Jacques Cavalier, maybe. He does the LV fragrances. Okay, yeah, Jacques Cavalier. This was released in 1994. So yeah, it's cool. I've talked about this before on the channel. It's cool to see like someone who's currently working on the LV fragrances a lot further in his career. Started with some of these. I believe this is one of the first that he created. And 90s, that's not super far away, but it really stood the test of time. I think you could feel like this was just made, a couple of years ago, if anything. For an EDT, an Eau de Toilette is probably one of the best lasting in terms of the longevity. Has nice sillage as well. For a fresh citrus, type of fragrance, I think it's quite impressive. The signature note that Lysipy's line is known for is like a yuzu citrus. And yeah, I guess it's there. Like, it's definitely obvious that it's citrus. I'm not sure what really dictates that it's actually yuzu. Maybe like a slightly sweeter take. Kind of the rind is like sweeter with that oily nature versus just being kind of lemony and more sour. I think you do get a slight floral touch, which maybe adds to the freshness and sweetness. But by no means would I find this like being too floral. Really just well blended, slightly woody in the base as well. Yeah, you just can't go wrong with this one. This might be the one on the list to recommend if I had to just pick one. But really, if you pick just one of these, I think you'll be good to go. But yeah, that wraps up the list for today. Like I said, not everybody wants to spend a ton of money on fragrance. And I think it's important to really enjoy and realize the potential that a lot of cheaper fragrances have. Money doesn't mean everything within the fragrance world. And for me, I love sharing these type of lists just because I want more people to get into fragrance. I think, people who are somewhat new into fragrance might kind of have this idea or notion that, if you're going to get quality, you're going to have to pay for it. And, there's definitely instances where I appreciate the artisanal craft and, some of the marketing, the details that are added to certain, more niche fragrances, if you will. But at the end of the day, you need to enjoy your journey. And if you want to get into somewhere, as a cheaper entry point, there's by no means any issue with that. And yeah, for example, like Lysipy, this is such a hidden gem, for sub 30. There's a lot of fragrances that wouldn't compete with this, honestly, and they're more expensive. Like, especially nowadays, people talk about the designer realm as kind of not as inventive. They're more, just seeking trends, kind of not copying each other one-to-one, but just, seeing what's really, pushing sales at the current time and just making fragrances based off of that. Whereas something like this, Lysipy, it's, again, like I said, it's timeless, it stood the test of time, but it does have a really nice nuance of notes. not saying that I wouldn't call it like a niche fragrance, but like it's pushing more towards that environment and that style of fragrance and its complexity for sure. So I hope you like the list. Let me know what you would add as well. You know, I could have added so many to this list. There's so many that I don't own, obviously, you know, in the cheapy realm. But these are some that are really gonna get you going. Any of these, like I said, you know, this is gonna be a great start to your collection. Perfect for spring, summer, and yeah, even all year as well. So let me know what you think about the list. I look forward to seeing your thoughts. Like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate all of you out there. Take care. I'll see you guys again.